This is Breaking Down Security, and I am Brian Brake. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brian, Miss Berlin, and Mr. Betcher for Breaking Down Security.
Hello.
Hello.
So what's everybody been doing this week?
Working.
Really?
Stuff. Ready for school to start.
Oh, yes. My
free babysitting.
Free 8 hours.
It just means I don't have to wake up at 4:30 anymore to take my son to work.
Oh, God. That's awful.
Well, I do. Only on weekends.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. He also wants to work on weekends throughout school.
I used to get up at 3:30 every morning and go to work.
But your parents
Get
didn't
home
have
at-
to take you, right?
No, they didn't. I was a big boy.
Did you walk or row the Viking ship yourself, or what?
I drove, man, in the snow.
Uphill both ways. Carrying your brother
At 13?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I was in college at the time. So.
No. Okay.
Oh, okay. It was like a newspaper route or something.
Almost.
Dude, that's the only reason I'd wake up at 3:30 in the morning. I had a friend
I loaded 3 trucks every morning.
Oh, okay. With fenced items? What did you load trucks for?
Stolen stereos.
That's what I said, fenced items, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, it fell off a truck. It's totally legit.
Don't talk to me, talk to the union, man.
Oh, wow. Just got all political up in this piece. So, there was definitely a lull. I think there's a lull after the whole hacker summer camp thing where people are either, hoping their livers don't fail on them. Yeah.
Burnout.
Yeah, I think there's some burnout. I mean, hasn't been hardly any blog posts.
That'll suck the energy out of you. I remember last year I went and, man, I bet I walked, I want to say 20,000 steps a day.
Good luck.
I was there. Yeah. So it sucks the energy out of you. And then they, you're expected to go to certain parties or events in the evenings, and golly, I wanted to see that talk at 10:30, but I don't know if I'll make it because it's 3 a.m. Things like that.
Yeah.
It's I'm not whining, right? I'm just saying it's peer pressure to hang out with people, and it's tough to actually go to the con that you're there to be there for, right?
Yep.
It's difficult for me to ever meet up with anybody.
Don't ever make plans.
I mean, Vegas is gigantic, and it's like even if you're in the same hotel or the same casino, sometimes it's just ridiculous trying to find people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I am. If I ever go to something that large, I'll just try not to make plans like that. So.
Nope. I stopped doing that. I at one point tried to do a dinner, getting everybody together. Mm-hmm. I scheduled and booked a restaurant and a table for 20 people. 2 people showed up.
Oh, that sounds like the Seattle Flake up here.
It was horrible. So I was grabbing people as they were walking past. Hey, you want to eat dinner? Hey, we made a lot of new friends.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that's...
So you were groping people, making friends.
Yeah, I mean, it's Vegas.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah, well, I mean, there was...
I remember I was at a talk at DEF CON, and so I went in, I sat on the right side, and was looking around, and a colleague of mine was on the left side. And instead of walking through people, I was like, okay, I'm going to go out the back door here on my side and come in the back door on the other side. I was like, okay, it's half full or whatever. So, and the doors were open. So I walk out, and I'm walking in the hallway to go to the other side of the room, and the goons are closing the doors, and they're like, you got to get in line. And I'm going, and the line is forming right before me. Okay. So I'm on the second story. And so I'm walking briskly as the line is forming to try and get in. And I have to go down the hall, take a right, down another hall, down the escalator. And by that time, I mean, the line's already into the casino, and I'm going, you got to be kidding me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just chaos. Wave at the guy across the way, and yeah.
Later. I'm like, well,
yeah,
that was a waste.
Yeah, and I think the other reason that InfoSec kind of is recovering, there was the sheriff drama. I'm not going to go into it if you want to find out about that.
Lots of it.
It's all over the place. There was, a few scandals, that kind of thing. So not going to talk about those because I don't want to talk about that. It's already been done in the InfoSec echo chamber, and it's still going on. So you can find that stuff out if you want to. But I wanted to talk about something that hit me on Twitter, and actually I would like to thank TXVB and a half. I don't know what his name is, but he goes by TXVB on.
It's Mike.
Mike TXVB and a half. So he had retweeted this guy who does a news article. I call it news on computerworld.com. And the actual tweet, which is going to be in our show notes if you want to read it, and I may have gotten a little over snarky with him. He was talking about checking your Windows machine and turning off automatic updates, which, one, it seems to me is very irresponsible to suggest to people to turn off automatic updates. So, Mr. Oddjob,
undoing all the work that we've put into this.
Yeah, and Mr.
Over
Oddjob,
and over and over.
I've met him at DerbyCon. Pink Mohawk. He's a goon at DerbyCon. Great guy. What?
Uh-oh.
He doesn't have a pink mohawk.
Not anymore. Well, he did when I met him.
Okay.
You're giving me stink eye. Did I get it wrong? I apologize, Mr. Oddjob.
Meat Shield is probably who you're thinking of.
You're right. My bad. Crap. Apologize.
Oddjob wears the fez.
Stink on toast.
Remember, you don't edit.
I don't edit. We're doing, all the way through. Anyway, so Mr. Oddjob, that's all right. Mr. Oddjob, he said, hey, this is terrible advice. Please retract. And I was like, what's he saying? So I saw this link, and so he starts off, this guy starts off, and his name is Leonard. Or Woody Leonard.
Leonard.
And he's
Leonard?
Yeah, Leonard, yeah. And he's like, you've had tons of problems with automatic updates so far this year. If you followed along here, you've seen them roll out in real time. He's like, now is an excellent time to make sure you have automatic updates turned off on all your machines. And I'm like, the fuck? I nearly cussed out loud at work. And I'm in my office by myself, so it didn't matter. But, he goes through this whole list of things about, Win 10 patch that broke Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Nobody uses that at home. Office patches that broke something. IE patches that broke iframe printing, whatever. Last month, Surface 4 had issues with the rogue driver that broke something called Windows Hello. He advocates turning off the patches until I don't know when. He never actually says when you should turn them back on. But I thought it was very irresponsible because this website doesn't appear to be for very technical people, even though he's like, yeah, well, if you're savvy enough, you should be able to turn off. And I'm like, what's your audience? If your audience is Joe Six-Pack IT guy, I apologize to IT guys. I probably shouldn't say that. But if it's just,
hey,
Joe
I haven't seen any IT guys with six-pack either.
Wow. Okay, so what I said earlier, thank you for just making that so much worse. So I don't think even if you are savvy enough to turn it off, that you should turn it off at all.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I totally agree. From home use to running Windows shit for large enterprise to doing what I do now, I think it is horrible advice.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a large enterprise, you can control those updates.
Correct.
Right? You can put it on some of your test servers or whatever and run it the day of. Yeah, and then maybe 2 days later patch.
And you use WSUS to create different groups. So you have all of this shit that I don't care if it goes down right away from a crappy Windows update, that shit gets patched automatically. Where if you have, oh my God, this has to be vetted and can't be applied right away to these major servers that would super impact our business. No, you test that shit in your prod and your dev environment, whatever, first, and then you apply it. Like it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
So for auto updates in the enterprise, probably not, but you're going to get it a couple days later.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's well controlled.
Yeah. The majority of everywhere will get it right away. And then,
Yep.
A few key ones should get it later.
Yeah.
After testing.
Well, he brought up the whole point of disabling that not only at home, but he seemed like he was also wanting and advocating to do it at work as well because of something called dual scanning. And I put another link to another tweet that he had in there because he said, one, he was trying to get us to join his lounge that people come and talk about stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to join your lounge. Thanks. I don't really want to do that. So, I made a snarky comment about next up on Computer World, learn how SMB1 can be used to share files out to your remote employees.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were snarky.
I probably shouldn't have done that because that did not help the argument at all. I apologize for that. That's on me. I'll own that. But he talked about something called dual scanning, which apparently in the later versions of Windows 10, builds 1607 and better, dual scan will actually update clients with Windows Update versus WSUS. So even if you're in the enterprise, it will go out to Windows Update and do the updates first before it goes to WSUS, which can be a problem if you are pushing specialized patches in WSUS. I would assume that there is a way that you can make WSUS priority over Windows Update. I can't imagine that Microsoft wouldn't have something like that. So there's it's in the TechNet article. It's in the TechNet article. It says Windows updates from WSUS blocking Windows Update access entirely. So that's like option number 2, which I don't see a problem here in the enterprise. Now, at home, you should still do Windows updates. My only suggestion would be if you're worried about patches breaking your stuff, do like normal people or what we would do and run backups, before
what we should be doing,
which is what you should be doing. Yes. There are a myriad of methods by which you can back stuff up. Dropbox gives you 2 gigs free. You can buy a $100 1 terabyte drive and pretty much back up your entire drive if you wanted to do that. Disabling anything on any home computer is just a recipe for disaster. And, we brought that up on the Twitter. We're like, hey, he's like, oh, why should we not turn that off? Why? I was like, look, you've got your home computers. They're not patched. WannaCry 2 comes out. Little Billy does something, your kid or your wife or, your husband, clicks on a link and gets owned. And, you're not patching, so automatically that computer's done. If the attacker is smart enough and it's the right type of vulnerability, that can be used to pivot to your work box if you're working at home. And if it lies dormant or if it sees that you're connected to a VPN connection, they can actually pivot through your box into the work, which would automatically give them internal access to the network. So, that was just one, and I don't think that's really an edge case. I think that could actually be a thing fairly easily. So even if it does break your box, you can always back out of it, or you can always... Windows 10 is fairly easy to reinstall these days. It's not like Windows XP where it took for hours to install. I actually have reinstalled Windows 10 on my Surface several times, just because I was running like the alpha builds or something and I didn't want to do that anymore. But yeah, go ahead.
I like auto updates, which is why since I have Android, I buy the phone directly from Google.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go to the carriers because they don't update fast enough for me.
Yep.
I get the updates as soon as they are available.
I'm hoping
it is automatic for my phone. That said, let me just I'm gonna throw the guy a bone here.
Okay.
Recently, there was an issue with a Chrome extension called Web Developer, and even in my organization, we had a few developers that use this because we have some websites and stuff, and they use Web Developer. and all of a sudden they went to our company website and they started seeing these racy ads.
Hello.
And think porn, but just back it off a little.
Oh, like
right?
escort services,
softcore.
Escort. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So all these ads on our site, and they reported it, and of course security had to investigate, and we found out that it was coming from the browser. Right. And so we looked at their extensions, and one of the extensions was web developer. And so we looked into it, and sure enough, it was coming from that. So what happened was that the developer of web developer got phished, and the attackers put some code into, his personal stuff, and then issued the automatic update to however many, maybe 1 million or more people with that extension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So by having automatic updates set, that was a risk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is some risk to automatic updates, that we all know. But I think the risk of not updating or getting into the mode where, I forgot, well, I'll do it next month, or, you just keep waiting for or pushing it off because, well, I don't really want to boot right now because I got, 16 really important tabs open that I need to come back to later. Right. And all of a sudden 16 turns into 50, and it's going to take an hour for you just to save all those tabs or what have you. Yeah. There's always an excuse.
Yeah. The only thing I would suggest if they did want to, okay, so let's say you are going to follow this guy's advice and do that anyway. I would suggest maybe starting to separate your critical machines at home. Most home routers do have VLANing or do have the ability for you to set up either different wireless radios, like most of the Linksys routers, the more high-end versions, have dual radios, or have the ability to isolate your work environment off to separate it from the rest of the network, because there's a lot of endpoint devices and endpoint systems out there that are actually starting to look at what's in the environment around you and doing discovery scans, much like malware does. So if you install an endpoint solution, it'll go, let's see what's around. Let's see what's running in the environment. And that is a thing that is happening with a lot of endpoint security systems out there. So, if you have a work device with endpoint security, you may actually want to isolate it from the rest of the network, just for additional security. I mean, because, we're often lax at home with those kinds of things. So, if you don't know how to do it, there's several tutorials out there on various, if you've got DDWRT, they show you how to do VLANing. If you've got something like pfSense on your box, you can always set up VLANs that way. You don't have to set a whole 24. You could probably set like a /30 or something, because some people have work devices. So if you want to set your work device to your work, I call it a device because it's actually just an iPod Touch that I have my 2-factor on because I don't have any other things to put my work email on. You can segment that stuff off. So, and that'll give you some protection if you decide you want to turn off the automatic updates on your personal devices, and you can't turn it off, hopefully, on your enterprise devices. Or if you do, you should be horsewhipped. So,
speaking of endpoint tools,
okay,
great segue. Oh wait,
did you read the article from something that was raised by CEO of Direct Defense?
Yeah, that's pretty much hot off of the press today. Today being August the 10th, or 10 August 2017 for those people not in the U.S.
So this is, this is not real. We're not going to talk about the news article itself, but just what has become of, I don't know, people, the industry, whatever, jumping to conclusions, right? So the gist of the article was, hey, Carbon Black is some sort of a botnet. Let me go to the article.
Yes,
but
please, yeah. And yeah,
Please don't. Is that what
no,
you're
no,
trying
no,
to say?
No, not please don't. But let's make sure we get the title correct so that we don't screw something up. So, I just think that and there's going to be more information coming out about this, but it's weird how that this company was just putting it out there like that.
Yeah, that's true. Both the person and the articles from CSO, right? Both CSO and it's possible that the author Steve Reagan wrote this article and then CSO decided to get a title for clickbait, right? Make up their own title without his approval, but the title says Pentest firm calls Carbon Black world's largest pay-for-play data exfiltration botnet.
Yep.
All right. So the gist of it is Carbon Black allows their customers to upload files to VirusTotal if it doesn't know or if it doesn't recognize that file or that hash, up to VirusTotal to be scanned by all the virus engines, the AV engines.
Yep.
Right. So he says that's bad because you're exfilling potentially sensitive data from companies and putting it out there on the web, basically.
Yeah, and
not without their permission.
Well, they don't say that until there's an update.
Until they're called on it.
Yeah.
They're called on it, and so there's an update to the article that says, actually, we give warnings. The customer has to actually check the things. They can do it on a group basis or the entire enterprise. But basically, we tell them might not be a good idea, but we offer this as a service anyway.
Yeah.
And their clients click the box, and I guess Carbon Black does its thing. And if it finds something that could potentially be malicious, not sure, uploads to VirusTotal just to get a second opinion or a 65th opinion.
Well, from what I understood, there was actually another update to this as well, and this is how quickly this is moving and how tawdry the whole thing has become. That the guy from what was
Direct Defense?
Direct Defense said that the way it was billed by Carbon Black, that they get better metrics and visibility if you enable that. You have to enable it it's not enabled by default.
Sure, I mean it's the wisdom of crowds, right?
Yeah. It uses third part, but the idea is they said they found all kinds of naughty stuff inside like AWS cloud keys, App Store keys. I'm not sure why all that stuff got sent out. It seemed to me that maybe was stuff that they should have looked for, or but yeah, it's just interesting how this whole thing is blown up, and that, it was
and they don't even call it VirusTotal initially.
Yeah.
Right. In the original article, it said it uploads to a third-party multi-scanner for checking, which makes it seem all secret and everything. And then later they find out, well, it is VirusTotal. Well, that's what I thought at first reading the article. I'm like, and okay, so here's the deal. Lots of companies do this. They integrate with VirusTotal's API. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm building this into LogMD as a feature. Right? You get something, you're not too sure. Hey, let's upload the hash and see if VirusTotal's seen it before.
Yeah.
Right? And give you the option of uploading that file, but make sure that you have to manually check that thing to upload that file, right? Because it's kind of obvious to me.
We do that. Yeah, we do that with a crap ton of MD5 hashes.
Yeah, and we tell people, if you get a PDF and an email, and you're not sure, don't upload that thing to VirusTotal, because that could have sensitive company data in it.
Sure.
Right? Don't just willy-nilly go uploading things.
Yeah.
Right? Because anybody with a private API key can search for that document.
Yeah.
And download it.
So you said you're giving this ability to LogMD. Are you requiring people who buy you the license for LogMD to get their own API key for VirusTotal to be able to upload those things?
It's not a requirement. They have to get their own API key. There is a shared key that you can use that's free. Mm-hmm. You can't do much. I think you get 5 uploads or 4 uploads a minute. Sure. So it is limited.
They don't want you to abuse the privilege.
Yeah, they don't want you to just spam them with all the stuff. Even though Google, who owns VirusTotal, likes to get their hands on as much data as possible, they don't want to be flooded. So yeah, you can get a private key and upload as much as you want. And we're just offering that as a feature, right? If you want to use your key, type in your key here and LogMD will upload it and get the results back.
When is LogMD going to start sponsoring our show, apparently? Because it sounded like a lot of nice free sponsorship there that... Well, actually, you do give me $5 a month on the Patreon, but I'm starting to think that Uncle Moneybags there needs to reach a little deeper. I think on the
Moneybags. Oh, I'm doing this for charity, man.
Are you?
It's free.
Save the endangered betchers of the world there. Yeah. So that was.
Well, as soon as Dropbox, I think you mentioned them too, starts sharing the love.
Yeah. None of those folks sponsor us, so they're too big, and we'll never get those guys. So there's a whole lot more still going on with that, and it's starting to become more. I think there's a lot of drama there, which I don't enjoy.
Seems
the drama.
like all mudslinging to me.
It's a lot of mudslinging.
It kind of is, but here's the point, right, guys? Don't stick your neck out there. Make sure that you disclose these things responsibly.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a real disclosure. Yeah. I feel like this is something that many of Carbon Black's customers asked for, and that's why it was a feature.
Yeah.
They're like, this seems like a bad feature. We should tell on them that this optional feature you can turn on and are warned about might cause problems.
Yeah, I was kind of intrigued when I read the title. I was like, wow, this is gonna hurt. And then I started reading and I was going, I'm gonna call Bravo Sierra, and I don't like it, man. I just it kind of the guy had to know what he was doing. Right?
You think part of it was,
hopefully people won't find out about it if I don't mention that it's VirusTotal. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if it was, there might be some publicity being involved there. I don't understand why I can't imagine Carbon Black let him do that. So, seems like, companies should have some kind of contract wording that says you're not going to disclose this stuff without fear of some kind of penalty, because, I don't know if he got away with it or what.
I like Direct Defense. I mean, they sponsor local B-sides here in the area, and I think they're a good company. It's just I think they made a mistake.
Yeah, I hadn't actually heard of them until this all came about. So,
all press is good press.
Maybe.
There's no such thing as bad press. Yeah. I can completely understand that. So I'm hoping that, maybe we can get the guy on to talk about this, but we do actually have a topic this week. We want to talk about some IPv4 stuff, the headers that are involved. But I got one other talk that came out late this afternoon that I was reading about it's billed on securityweek.com as the coolest DEF CON talk no one is writing about. And I'm only adding it right now because I know that there are like a Brazilian Comcast users or Comcast slave, Hive drones out there that have no option but to use Comcast. And for the majority of those people, they're using the little appliance thing that they send you, like the form factor that gives you the Comcast TV and all that stuff. And one of the things they like to tout is the Xfinity Wi-Fi access points that come with those home devices, which is great because if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you need an internet connection because your phone sucks, and there's an Xfinity Wi-Fi AP somewhere because another fellow Comcastian has, the internet from Comcast, you can connect to their device on like a separate radio that allows you to surf the web. I've used it. It works. It's slow, but it works. So these folks at DEF CON found out that not only is there let me bring the link up so that I don't get it wrong here. So there is not only the Xfinity Wi-Fi wireless network and your own internal network that can be used, but there's actually a third hidden Wi-Fi network that is called XHS with the lower 4 bytes of the MAC address. And this is hidden, apparently. They found 4 different ways to grab the MAC address of the box. So I guess Xfinity Wi-Fi doesn't necessarily... actually, the easiest way is if you connect to the Xfinity Wi-Fi, you can get the MAC address of the actual cable modem. And by doing so, you can actually derive the XHS, Wi-Fi access name. And using those lower 4, it actually derives the passphrase from that, which is awesome. So it's generated from the MAC address of the interface. So the problem is connecting to the XHS hidden Wi-Fi access point. Any traffic you generate on that actually looks like it's coming from the residence itself, which is something that's always scared the hell out of me. I actually have an Aris surfboard, which has its own security issues, but I didn't want the device that the Xfinity gives you because I was worried about some way of bridging the Xfinity to my home stuff. But apparently you don't even need to do that. There's a third one that automatically would connect to the home network. So
this is security by obscurity. They thought no one would figure this out.
Yeah, I think that's
right.
It's
some secret, secret sauce derived from the last 4 of the MAC, things like that. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, the problem is
in a bad way.
Yes. So if you have Comcast, I think there's a way to disable that. Actually, what I did, I've done this on AT&T. I actually I actually bought a separate Wi-Fi device, like a Linksys router. It was a couple years ago, but I set it in the DMZ, which allowed all ports to access everything. So I turned off the Wi-Fi on the actual device, used my Linksys as my edge router, and I just used that as a dumb device. So that way everything was more secure, because I was worried about stuff like that. And when I found out I was going to get Comcast, I didn't want that in my house, so I set it up that way. So, but yeah, if you have a Comcast device, make sure that you either get another device and run it in the DMZ, or turn off the Wi-Fi altogether, and that way,
if possible.
Yeah, if possible. I've actually heard. I don't know if this is true or not, so don't quote me on it. But you can ask them to turn that off, and they will. But it has mysteriously come back on. You can't exactly turn it off on your. You can turn it off on your profile on Xfinity's site, but people have found that it has been turned back on mysteriously.
Yeah, I don't trust any cable company.
Yeah,
I don't trust any ISP.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's becoming more and more true. So, yeah. So, yeah. Does anybody have any thoughts or suggestions about it? I know Betcher's got AT&T, and you have Spectrum. You said.
Yeah,
so.
I bought my own modem too.
Yeah.
Like, they tell you what modems you can buy, and I got mine, and I already had a router, firewall, Wi-Fi thing already set up, and. Yeah. I have 10 other things that I have to set up for my home network that I've not gotten very far on. So, okay, let me ask you this question. I was reading another article this week, and I'll have to find it again. It's in my history somewhere. But somebody was saying that, they don't trust their ISP anymore, so you should definitely use a VPN for anything. And I'm like, is that overkill, or is that really what needs to be happening these days? I don't know. I feel like depends on who you are and what your views on privacy and stuff are. I mean, they can see everything. I mean, unless it's over some sort of encryption. But the idea I don't know. Like, I tweet a lot. Yeah. Well, like all my work stuff's over a VPN. The idea is the VPN would be encrypted, and depending on where you set the VPN up, whether it be in, Russia or some, friendlier, quote unquote, country. Did you just call Russia friendlier? Well, I mean, not to get political, but anyway. It's going to be all one big country soon anyways. Now, see, would you have to go and all be political? That's because it's funny. That's why. That's true. So, but you could set up a VPN on an Amazon instance.
Silence, prole.
We've always been at war with Eurasia. You know that. So, but Yeah, so I mean, you could run the VPN through like a GRE tunnel or an SSH tunnel through to an Amazon instance. Now, depending on if you believe Amazon is more trustworthy, then all your data would be funneled through an Amazon instance. You don't have to run PFSense or any kind of weird open VPN kind of connection for a lot of these things. But I just wondered if do you need what is necessary, or what would make you want to use a VPN in that respect? I mean, you said you don't trust your ISP, but what don't you trust about their ISP?
That they're logging the websites you're going to, things like that.
Okay.
I feel that they probably are.
If I have a medical condition and I want to learn more about that medical condition, I would be searching for articles about it, right? What do you do about it? Who do you see about it? Things like that. And it doesn't have to be me. It could be a family member too.
Right.
And all of a sudden they, one and one makes two. And then all of a sudden they know that you have this condition or whatnot. And what can they do with it? I don't know. Sell that information.
Is that why you're getting the little blue pill emails in your email?
What's that?
Is that why you're getting those little blue pill emails in your inbox?
Yeah.
Yep. Targeted, the tailor-made ads, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I guess that makes sense.
I visit the Jim Beam distillery and all of a sudden I'm getting ads, for
Uncle Pappy,
Maker's Mark and Wild Turkey.
Yeah.
And then
I blame all of that on Google and Facebook, though.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean,
but they're really good at it.
So it's funny. You have lunch with a particular vendor, all right, and then that vendor shows up at your office. All of a sudden, you're getting ads for that very product on Twitter. Now, how does that work?
Well, that's the holy grail for
Just
Google.
The next day.
I know.
Right?
Google said that's the holy grail for Google. They want to be able to track. And I saw an article about this as well. I read a lot of stuff. I'm sorry. So they said that they're able to track credit card transactions, and they get that information from presumably credit card companies and retailers, and they can, track you in that method. And they won't. They
know that they've sent you ads. And then they can follow up with you going to that particular store or your credit card transaction for that particular item. And they get really good metrics on the value of their ads.
Yep.
Well, have you ever, so both of, Brian, do you both have Google, like Android phones?
Yes.
Yes, I
Okay.
does.
So have you ever, I don't know if you have it turned on still, have you ever looked at like your location history and maps?
Oh, I've turned all that off.
Oh, it's crazy.
I also turned off the web search in like 2007 when I first heard about it. So they haven't been following my web search for years, thankfully.
Well, I'm really bad at losing things, so I left mine on.
Oh.
But it's crazy accurate. Like it when I go on a trip, it will tell you were at this gas station for 7 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And then you got back up on the road and you went and ate at IHOP.
Yeah.
For 34.
Yep.
And it is down to the minute, and it is super creepy. And but you know what? My targeted ads are on point. Like I've gotten some stuff that I've actually bought, which was the first time it happened was pretty weird. Because I hate that stuff. Like I hate the fact that the ads are like that, but they showed me a T-shirt that I'm like, that's exactly me. Like, I need that. That's perfect advertising.
Right. Yeah, I am. I kind of poison the well because I block everything out of habit. So I get all kinds of stupid stuff. I probably shouldn't do that. I probably should just comply. But
yeah, I'm all about compliance.
I get so much stuff on Facebook, and it's like I don't want this. I don't like this. I don't like this.
Have you ever seen my tank top? It said the universe is composed of protons, neurons, electrons, and morons.
Nice.
That was it. Like
Very
that
nice.
came up on my Facebook feed. I'm like, nope, you got me.
Dang it.
That's
I just checked.
Totally
I don't
me.
have I don't have location history.
Nope,
No.
I don't either. They'll do it in
No.
real time though. They'll be like, "Oh, you just ate it. We were in Walla Walla and we got in there and we were eating Walla Walla, Washington. It's a wine country." And they're like, "Oh, how'd you like the oxen cart?" And I'm like, "What the fuck? What's that?" Yeah. So
Yeah, and you don't need GPS because they know all the Wi-Fi access points there, so they can
Exactly.
pinpoint you even.
I needed
more
to find
clear.
I needed to find my car
Oh,
when I park.
yeah.
Like it tells me where exactly I parked, and it's the best thing in the world.
Well, when your memory starts
My
going,
mind's
that might
going.
be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, after 3 kids, it's shot.
Yeah.
You get COPD right now, chronic old people disease.
Yes.
Is that what you got?
I'm getting there.
Are we ranty this week? I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't
a little
expect it to be
bit,
all
a little
ranty,
bit.
but we kind of got ranty and
I haven't
curmudgeon-y.
talked to any real people in like a week. So
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah.
Well, you want to rant about TCP/IP? Isn't that kind of boring?
Nah, dude. So
What?
excellent segue. Well done, sir. So when I did the 504 class with Mr. Strand, one of the things that really came up on the test was there was some PCAP stuff that came up, which I was talking to Ms. Berlin before this. And I was like, I don't know if I'm just an idiot savant or whatever, but I could figure out what they wanted from the PCAP, but I don't actually have any experience with log analysis, with looking at PCAPs. I don't look at them on a regular basis. I come from vulnerability management, and I can still look at these things and go, oh yeah, that's what they're wanting. And some of the stuff we learned in class was like on things like covert TCP, which is a method by which you can exfil data across in the headers. And in the test, should I mention that? So when you're learning, covert TCP is actually open source software. You can download it and use it. Thank you, sir. I got that. I see it on the waveform there, so I'll be able to zoom in on that.
Yeah.
So one of the
use that as that's great.
There you go. Ding. So
One of
the open source tools they teach you about is something called covert TCP, and it's a way of exfilling stuff over IP packets, but it's very slow and it hides inside of the header information. One of the fields in the IP header that it looks in is the IP identification, which oh
yeah, the IPID.
IPID, yeah. So you can use it to hide data, or it's used for uniquely identifying the group of fragments in a single IP datagram. So, I mean, and when I say exfil data, you're not exfilling thousands and thousands of bytes. This is like very slow. Byte per byte per byte, letter by letter by letter by letter. And the only way you can do it is by going in and looking at it with proper tools. So, I was just going to go through the list of various fields, like, in the IPv4 header format, but I don't know if that's something that people are interested in doing. So,
well, I watched a talk on it. I guess I was given at DerbyCon last year, but then it was also given at B-Sides Nashville this year. Okay. That a guy wrote. His name's Russell. He wrote a tool that will do just that. It will exfil data through those, little pieces and parts of the packet that you can send through, but through like next-gen firewalls.
Right.
So like, those next-gen firewalls, they're supposed to stop everything, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the rules that are created still have to
abide by the rules of TCP/IP.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they have to allow so many bytes to go through to identify what those packets are for.
Yep.
So like you'll have a rule saying, all right, I want to block all Facebook traffic. Yeah. Or traffic this certain protocol. It will have to, like, so much of that has to get through for it to realize that's what it is. Well, the amount that gets through, he figured out how to exfil data through that.
Yeah.
And then reassemble it on the other side.
Well, in that case, it would be, I would imagine the part of the header that you need to worry about would be all the way up to the destination IP. So the next gen firewall is looking at the destination IP and everything before it and going, okay, destination IP matches Facebook, so I can't allow it. But
Right.
you've already allowed the identification stream or one of the other necessary fields like fragment
Just like
offset.
64 full bits.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
You could shove stuff into.
Yeah, and there's other ways of exfilling data. I mean, you can use DNS. There's numbers of different ways. But if you're trying to be uber sneaky, apparently this covert TCP figures in prominently with a lot of pen testers. Of course,
The fact that everybody always lets HTTPS out.
That's true. Yeah, HTTPS is pretty much unblockable because people start complaining they can't get to anything. So. Is that a bad thing, though? I mean, are we over-reliance on 443?
I think so.
Yeah? Because, I mean...
But it's hard to lock down.
Well, and because so many things run through it, it's getting even more difficult. So it's going to be one of those ones that...
Everybody has a web app.
Yeah. Everything's going to go out. Everything goes over API or whatever. So.
Yep.
It's the circle of life, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can always save the IPv4 stuff for another time. I'm going to leave it in the show notes because there's a really good book in there. The No Starch TCP Guide is an excellent resource if you're wanting to read up about the TCP stack. I was looking at the Wikipedia page for IPv4 as well. What I like is that IPv6 is way simplified. They don't have all this additional stuff for the IPv6 header. So instead of all that other stuff, they just have payload length. They've got header, hop limit, and then source and destination IP. And instead of like 25 different fields, they have like 6. And it's simplified. Of course, the source and IP, the source and destination IPs are much larger, but they've simplified that quite a bit. So, all right. Well, I mean. This wasn't exactly the show I was expecting to do, but I guess it's the show that we got. So we have some ideas for upcoming shows because some of our Patreons, if you are a patron and you want to suggest a show, you can do that. We actually had somebody reach out today and ask that we bring one of the speakers from DEF CON on to talk about security and DevOps stuff. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that because this guy seems like he's fairly high up in his organization, so we'll see. But yeah, if you, I'm not saying that you need to, be a Patreon, but a patron of us, but send us an email and we'll look at whatever ideas you have for the show. So, well, I mean, anybody have any other things to talk about?
I have training next week. If anybody wants to join, I think there are still open spots left. Maybe
you can sign up for that
Safari Online. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As long as you have a Safari subscription.
Okay, and that costs
it's free.
It's free. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. All right, so
Lee and I next Wednesday.
What are you going to be teaching?
I think the same thing we did last time. It's threat detection with people and tools.
Right on. Okay. Will we be able to put out the announcement next week of the thing? Okay, good.
Not right now.
Okay. We're vague casting right now. We're vague casting. So Mr. Betcher doesn't even know. He's like, huh? I don't know.
I'm lost.
You didn't join earlier.
That's right. You just showed up on time. But that's why we have times.
1 minute. Come on. Fashionable.
Right. Okay. So we're all going to be at DerbyCon. That's going to be a blast.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Bringing my shaved ice machine.
I know. What flavor?
I just ordered
Despair.
a 10-pack of random stuff, and then I'm assuming alcohol.
Shaved ice.
Everybody on Twitter just said bourbon, so
nice.
I'm assuming there'll be lots of bourbon flavored ices.
I want despair flavored icy, shaved ice. So.
And then
everybody bring your books, and Amanda said she'll sign them.
Yeah. I only got to sign 2 at DEF CON.
Is that because people didn't have them, or it was like, oh, it's up in my room, stay here and I'll go get it?
I think a combination of those two.
You were too intimidating.
Yeah, right. I've been told that a lot before.
Whatever.
Get back in line.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, ma'am. So, yeah, that's cool. We're going to have a lot of fun at DerbyCon. We're actually going to be there for training. Actually, I'm going to be in class doing red teaming with Josh Schwartz, Mr. Fuzzy Knob, which He's been in the news recently. So
Schwartz.
for a little bit of something. So you can go tweet that or Twitter that or Google that if you want to find it. So Mr. Betcher, Mr. Betcher, what are you doing? Are you going to be anywhere in the next month or so? Is there anything going on down in Austin area?
I don't know. Man.
Dude, there's something always going on in Austin, InfoSec wise.
Gosh, what else do we got?
In Austin, probably. Okay. I don't know.
All right.
Well, I don't know.
Fine. I think Derby's the next thing.
You'll be at DerbyCon with me, so right on.
Barring a plane crash, yeah, I should be.
Wow.
I got my tickets.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
I drive.
Yep. Well, all right. We're going to end this then. So, Ms. Berlin, how would people find you if they wanted to?
At InfoSystir, INFOSYSTIR on Twitter or on our wonderful Slack channel. That's breaksec.signup.team.
Excellent. Wow. Yes. You're number 2 in my book. You've just taken over from Mr. Betcher because I didn't have to prompt you for the Slack thing. That's awesome.
I feel like I should contribute somehow.
You're awesome. So, yeah, Mr. Betcher, how'd people get a hold of people if they?
I wore pants, so I think I'm contributing too. Right?
Not booty shorts, just pants.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm also on the Slack channel. I put in a few posts today.
Yes, you did.
Shoot. And follow me on Twitter at BetcherPwned. BetcherPwned. BOETTCHERPWNED.
Right on. All right. So yes, our Slack is very active. We have a lot of stuff going on there. We're working on the book club. I have actually given that off to one of my lieutenants in the. I say lieutenant because I like it. It sounds better than lieutenant. In break, Mr. Cybuck is going to be running that. I will probably show up because I want to do the book he's got a poll out for. But like Miss Amanda said, breaksec.signup.team. We have a poll going on in the book club channel for what we're going to be doing it on. You can go and vote for your favorite. There's ones like Practical Packet Analysis, Countdown to Zero Day from Kim Zetter, Dear Hacker, Letters to the Editor of 2600. I think the one that's in the lead right now is Cyber Operations, Building, Defending, and Attacking Modern Computer Systems. That sounds very important and big. And of course, Tony Robinson, DA667's book is on the list too. So if you want to do his book, The Avatar Project, that's also available. So come on in and have a vote. We're still doing our class. We only have a couple of more sessions with McDouglas on our PowerShell stuff. We're going to be asking about, what you guys might want to see next. So if you are interested in doing a class, and we can find us an instructor, we'll be doing another class. So you can join us there and say, hey, I want one on reverse engineering, or hey, I want to do one on packet analysis and, network security management or something. So, sky's the limit. You can follow us on Twitter at BrakeSec, BRAKESEC. You can... Force Awakens is on. You can follow me at Brian Brake on Twitter, Brian, BRYANBRAKE. We're on iTunes. If you love us or don't love us, please leave some feedback. It's always appreciated. We're on Google Play, SoundCloud for however long SoundCloud is going to be up.
What about Anchor?
What's Anchor?
I heard about that.
All right, tell me.
I'm Googling it now. I just heard of it.
It's a thing that goes on a boat.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me when the show's over. I'm trying to get this done. All right, so we're on TuneIn Radio, Google Play Store. We have a YouTube channel, so you can join us there for that. And that's got all of that YouTube channel will have all the videos from our classes. So our Python class with #cyber, our web app class that we did with Miss Sunny. And once our class with PowerShell is done with Mr. Douglas, that will also be on our YouTube. So if you want to look and check those out, you can do so. All right, that was it for this week on Breaking Down Security. Everyone have a great week, and we will talk to you again soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.